Hi, Maggie.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. I'm excited for today. We're on our fifth Death Doula Talks. So, for anyone who is chiming in for their first time, I'd just like to let you know that it is Doula Month. So, my partner Maggie and I had decided at the beginning of April to have some little talks around what a death doula does, how we can help your family, and just all around what our purpose is and some of our stories. So we are on number 5. So if you need to go back for more information, you're more than welcome to scroll on our personal Facebook pages or on our business page. What I want to add to each chat that we're having at the beginning is with death doulas, it's so important for us. One of the things we pride ourselves on are confidentiality when it comes to our clients. So we do not mention any names unless, of course, we were given permission or it's one of our family members. So that's why you don't hear us say names or you might hear us make up names. But now we're at the point where we're talking about different situations and different services that we ourselves have helped families with. So we're going to let Maggie have a little speak here. She has lots of fun things to show us. It's a happy time with the things that Maggie is showing us. Even around death, believe it or not, you can rejoice and you can have peace. And there can be happy moments and happy times for the family before, during, and after. So that's what Maggie's going to show us some of today. Go ahead, Mags.
Absolutely. It's funny you say it's the 5th. I thought it was the 6th. I never know what day it is. But
I
it
think
is
it's
what
a
it
fifth.
is. So today I wanted to show you this little book. And what it is a little scrapbook. And it's a scrapbook for somebody who was suffering with a little bit of memory loss, a little bit of dementia. And the book was created to help them remember who they are, as well as to help the caregivers get to know them. Because there are times when you can just see different pages showing pictures of things they like to do. And I could show this book because it's my own mother's book and I did have her permission to use it later. So you can see that this book helps them to remember their family members. It helps them to remember the things that they like to do. And as well, it can be used for the caregivers who come into the house because oftentimes there are many different caregivers and caregivers tend to ask people questions about themselves. Well, if somebody is suffering from dementia or memory loss, they're not going to know the answers to those questions. So, creating a little scrapbook like this gives each caregiver ways to, number one, get to know their client, and number two, to use it to bring memories to the client that they can talk about. You can look at a picture. For example, there's one here of my mom hunting. And so you could look at a picture and say, oh, so you used to hunt when you were younger. And it may spark a memory, creating a conversation starter. So a book like this is something that we often use for the clients, for their families. And then after the person passes away, it's a lovely memory. It's a book that you will always treasure that you made together during that death journey. And as Tamara said earlier, death is always going to be sad, but there's happy, beautiful, memorable moments in it as well. And this is one of them. I'll treasure this book for my whole entire life because of when it was made, how it was made, how it was used. And another one that I have is this little pillow. Well, it's not so little. This pillow was made, the picture was created as my mom was laying in her deathbed. Her and I were holding hands. And after her death, I had this pillow made, and it says on it, holding me forever. And this pillow is a constant reminder that even though she's not here in the present, she is still holding my hand. And she is still with me on this journey. And things like that are legacies that we can create with families that we serve as death doulas. We create those legacies together, and they will always have those memories. Like I tell every client that I have, take pictures. Oftentimes people are hesitant to take pictures of somebody when they're dying because they don't want it to appear morbid. But that picture of those hands is a treasure. Another little thing that I'll show you is this beautiful paperweight. Stunning, handcrafted, hand-blown paperweight. Now, if you look closely at it, you can see the sparkles. Well, those sparkles are made of my mom's ashes. And this is a memory that I will always have of hers. It was sent away to the company, and I can put the link in as well. And you can create a beautiful memory like this. It comes in different shapes, shaped like a heart, a ball. This one here is just like a teardrop. So you can create beautiful memories with ashes, cremated ashes, that then you will have this forever. Not only do I also have a necklace that has some cremated ashes in it. So there's lots of different options for people who want to create legacies for legacies. And I keep putting things into my folder all the time of different ideas of ways that people can create those legacies. You can also use clothing. I've seen people make aprons out of a loved one's shirt, or using their father's ties, neckties, to create an apron or a pillowcase or something like that. So I always encourage people, don't be too quick to get rid of their belongings. Stop and think about what you could repurpose them for and what kind of memory they could create. And, I've also had somebody commission somebody to make a quilt out of clothing. So, there's lots of memories that can be created out of simple little legacy ideas. And we encourage our clients to think about that. So that's my little bit of information for today.
Maggie, that was fantastic. And I just want to remind everyone, if you've had any experience with losing a loved one, so for myself and for Maggie, we've both lost our mothers. Even being a death doula, it's one of the hardest things ever. But when you lose anyone that you love, having something to touch, something tangible to smell, to look at, to touch, because our brain triggers memories that bring peace, memories that create healing. They help with the grief. So as you mentioned, it's very important not to just, I know it's painful and some people say, I can't go in the room. I got to get rid of everything. I understand it's painful, but you may regret that after. You may just want to put it all aside. I know I created a scrapbook for my mother and for my father-in-law, and I couldn't do it. I had to wait for at least a year. Twice I had sat down and tried to do it, but it was too emotional. And that's okay.
Mhm.
So what I did was put it all aside and said, you know what, I'll wait. I'll wait until I have the strength, till I'm ready. And one evening I sat there, and every picture I looked at, I was creating a story around it. And it was bringing me so much peace, like my mom was there with me. So I really encourage everyone to think about legacy. If you're diagnosed with a terminal illness, even if you're not, it's always good to create little trinkets and give them to your grandkids, and just memories of things. Memories are what we have that don't die. Our memories do not die, unless, of course, we're unfortunately faced with an illness that takes them from us. But again, they're down there somewhere. We just can't always have them up front. So super important. So I want to thank you for that, Maggie. And please post a few links, maybe even some Pinterest ideas underneath this chat for people to go and have a look at. I know of a family that's grieving very hard from a loss of a child last year, a loss of a young woman, beautiful young woman with a young son. And she had many friends and many people loved her. And the other day, I actually saw a post on Facebook where they had taken some of her clothing, her jeans, a t shirt, and they made bags, they made purses, and they made grocery bags, reusable, recyclable bags, and they're proud walking around carrying that. It's like they're carrying them on their shoulder every day. Such a fantastic idea. So I was going to talk about the loss of individuals and how it reflects on pets, and the emotions that the individual that's dying goes through, the family dynamic around the pet that's left behind. But I'm in a complete different mindset now, and I think I want to wait and leave that for another time, because I feel like what you've just introduced to our any listeners is one of the most important things when it comes to healing and grief. Is we all feel like we're missing the person, we're all missing it, and we can't get that person back. We have to be realistic, we have to face that sad, harsh reality that, you know what, mom is not coming back. So how can I connect? How can I connect? How can I heal? And legacy work is so important. And that's part of what death doulas do. And it's actually one of the most favorite parts of working with families and clients. I just want to add too that when an individual is diagnosed with a terminal illness, family roles change and family dynamics change. And what I mean by that is you can probably figure it out if you're listening. But let's say we'll use an example of your husband is diagnosed with a terminal illness and he's dying, and now he's dying at home. Well, your husband used to be the caregiver, the provider, the one that paid the bills, etc. Now that's all changing. All the roles in a family change. And we as death doulas really work hard with the families to help balance those roles and to help work the family through that. And one of the things that does that, where I'm getting with this long introduction, is legacy work. You know, some individuals may have rocky relationships with their brothers, their sons, their daughters, their mothers, their sisters. I've seen it many times. I've had one client, part of their legacy work was he was very sad because he was very disconnected from his brother and sister for many years. It was a very hatred, a resentment. There was a lot behind it. It's not very simple. And just because someone's dying does not take that past away. And that's okay too. But with this specific client, one of their legacy work that they wanted to move forward for their healing, and not only their healing, but they realize the importance not to leave and to have these other people that are still living carrying guilt and carrying pain and resentment. And hands up to this client who had reached out and said, you know, I have to rectify this situation, and I can't leave this earth feeling this way, and God forbid my brother and sister feel this way their whole life. We need to write letters for them. And that was his way. He wanted to write a letter. He couldn't write, and it was really difficult to get the wording together. He could still speak. So, you know, I created the letter for him, wrote it for him. So it's my handwriting, but I was instructed in what to put in that letter. It didn't come from me. I didn't make that shit up. I don't know what his childhood was like, or this time with the beer, or this or that. Those were his words, his specific words to his brother and his sister. He wanted that healing to take place and for them to know that he loved them. I was instructed not to give that letter to them until after he had passed, when we were at the service. And I did. I gave that letter, and they were very surprised, very surprised. But now they have that letter. Anytime they're feeling the pain, or the guilt or the resentment, they have something that they can go back to and hold and read and say, okay, so this is his last thoughts of what transpired through our lifetime. This is his way of trying to heal us. So again, with the family roles changing, family dynamics are not always the, leave it to beaver cleaver family, let's just say, very rarely. So it's super important to make sure that when someone dies, people can move forward and grieve and be sad and absorb their true emotions. And the way to do that is through legacy. So again, thank you for sharing those wonderful things with us, Maggie. And yeah, put up some posts. And if anybody ever needs some advice or just some ideas on creating legacy, you don't have to hire a doula to do it. You could reach out to us and we could give you some ideas, or you can do some research yourself, or better yet, follow your heart. What does your heart tell you that you want to do? Because that's probably the right legacy work. For me, it's very simple. I have a keychain that I believe everything happens for a reason. And my niece had given my mother a grandmother angel look over me keychain. I've never, ever read my mother's keychain. She had it for years on her keys, never read it. When she passed and I had to go bring in her keys to return them to the owner of the building, I looked at the keychain and I read it and it spoke to me. Now that keychain is everywhere I go. Anytime I'm sad or I need courage or I just want to feel love, all I do is grab that out of my wallet and I just rub it. I just play with it in my hands and talk to it. And you would be surprised at how fulfilled I feel doing that. So it doesn't always have to be something big. So that's what we'll leave you with today. Any last words, Mags?
Well, to all those people who have not received a diagnosis, it also triggers us to do those thoughtful things. Send that person a keychain, send them something that they will have as a memory of you. Give it to your children, give it to your loved ones, give it to your partner. Don't only do it if you're dying.
Such a good
Do
point.
it when you're living.
Why wait until we're dying to tell someone we love them, right? Why? Let's do it now while we're here.
Absolutely.
Okay, everyone, have a great Wednesday afternoon, and we'll see you back again on Friday. And on Friday, I'm planning to speak about pets, but with us, you never know what gets thrown at us in our hearts. So we just kind of fly by the seat of our pants today. So have a great day. And thanks, Maggie. See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.